I don't have a gavel, so I'm sorry, I didn't mean to yell. We'll call this meeting to order now. Welcome to the regular meeting of the University of State Texas. It is Tuesday, February 15, 2022, and the regular meeting. I'll call for Quorum Check, please.
Mayor Williams.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Neville.
Here.
Councilmember Blvd.
Here.
Councilmember Maxwell.
Here.
Councilmember Adjournment.
Here.
Councilmember Shelby.
Here.
Councilmember Gold. Here.
Quorum is present. We shall proceed. The invocation this evening will be given by Councilmember Byrd, and I'll lead us in the pledge afterwards. So would everyone please stand.
I think I am asking them to help me say that we always proceed prayer, and that we would say the word prayer. And our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Okay, let's join in the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Well, thank you very much. There must be some sort of a special presentation coming up. I see a lot of smiling faces, and I know exactly what that's for, and we'll get to that right away. It's our opportunity this evening to recognize the Neighborhood Crime Stopper of the Year award, and you know this is one of the great, wonderful times to be a member of this staff and this council, because we get to recognize some very, very special people. And I'm going to turn it over to our chief, our police chief, John Siemens, and he's going to take it from here. And I think it's, come on up, John. You've got the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I always feel compelled to apologize for speaking with my back to the audience. But Council, Mayor, Madam CM, and staff and citizens, thank you and good evening. Well, we're here to present an award, or actually I'm here as a nomination for an award for the Citizens Police Academy to present. And so all I'm going to do is kind of tee it up, Mr. Mayor, and explain kind of the circumstances. It's going to be a summary, okay? So don't hold the exact details against me. But to summarize what happened that morning, early fall last year, while on the way to school, early morning hours, this young lady here, and we're using abbreviations for the most part just so it's not on the minutes, GV, I'm right, and RV, her daddy, this father-daughter crime-fighting duo. Dad listened to the daughter's advice and said, she said, I don't recognize this vehicle as being in our neighborhood. Now you talk about a student aware of surroundings. Very impressive. Dad heeded that advice, began videoing the vehicle and the occupants, watched them go down the street to another home, park on the side, get out of the vehicle, make entry into an open garage, and then come out wheeling a $3,000 generator, hoist it into the back of their trunk, and that's when myself and about 3 officers arrived. I guess it was about 7 in the morning or so. And we likely, as you all know, we can't be everywhere. You are our eyes and ears for this city and this community. We have a finite amount of staff, although we have the best in the business. It's very difficult to be everywhere at once. So people like her daddy, and then the second part of that is reaching out to us. Everybody has those moments where they think, I probably should have called 911 or the police. If you're asking yourself that question, you should have already called. They didn't waste any time. They did so. She was extremely enthusiastic, as she is now, contagious even. And I'm honored to turn it over to President Jody. Where you at, ma'am, to present the award. So I'll get out of the way here for just a moment. Kid, I'm super proud of you. Super proud.
When the chief told me about what you and your dad accomplished, I mean, that was amazing. I have young ones your age, and I just hope that I'm doing the same as you are with your daughter. It's amazing. So I'm going to present to you, we named it the Leon Smoot Citizen Crime Fighter Award this year. He was a member of our organization, and he was an American hero. He's a lieutenant in the Navy, master parachutist, master diver, master at explosive ordnance disposal. I mean, he worked with the Secret Service. He just did some amazing things for our country. And so we felt we should name this after him, and so now I'm honored to give you that award and your dad the award and a gift from us. So, please. There we go. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
Chief, get it.
Oh, absolutely.
Good example, dear brother and sister.
Good job.
Let me ask if you guys would like to comment a little bit on what you observed that morning. I know the chief alluded to it, but exactly what happened. But what caused you to do what you did, really? Why don't you tell us?
I'm not good at talking, so I wish I could do this.
You can talk to everybody.
Okay, so the morning we woke up, I had basketball practice, and I was going to the trainers because my knee was hurting. So we noticed them opening our garage when we were leaving behind the wall, and oh my God, I'm so nervous. And we noticed that he was driving and very specifically opening certain people's garages, specifically ours, our next door neighbors, and then he went down to my friend's house and ended up opening the garage right next to it, and that's when I opened up my camera and we turned around and caught him on video stealing the power generator.
Good job. It's a second-degree felony in the state of Texas. It's a big offense. It's a heinous offense, entering somebody's residence or attached garage. And it's one that we don't take lightly, and we're grateful for you guys for pointing that out and bringing it to our attention so we can get there and apprehend him. It was a good caller. Thanks to you all.
You were clearly an assistant police officer that morning.
Oh, I
Journalist
am
by
a
taking a
well.
What do you want to be when you grow up, man? Sorry, good job, Mr.
I
Mayor.
want to be a police officer.
So you tell me we're not recruiting for us here. I'll tell you what. We started in 7th grade.
Recruit him young, Johnny. Congratulations.
Oh, I'm a freshman.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, we'll start as young as it takes. I'm joking.
We're extremely proud of you guys.
Thank you.
You're exemplary of the citizenry you have in our community. It cares for everybody else in your neighborhoods. That's why the Police Academy does what they do as volunteers to support all the efforts that help make us a very, very sound, safe community. So congratulations. We are really thrilled and proud that you were able to receive this award this evening. Congratulations. You're all obviously welcome to stay for the entire meeting. If there is a reason why you need to leave, don't worry about it. It's perfectly all right. We have some items on the agenda this evening that are kind of interesting. But it's certainly up to you. If you would prefer to leave, don't worry about having to say, can I leave now? You just may leave at your leisure as you need to. So, especially if you have to go to school, some of the younger kids. Okay. All right. Again, wonderful. All right, let's move on now to our next item, which is tab number 8, which is the minutes of Tuesday, February 1st, 2022, City Council regular meeting. That will require a motion. Memo as corrected, very correct. Do I have any further discussion on the minutes? Aye. Call the roll, please, Chris.
Mayor Buckles.
Aye.
Councilmember Maxwell.
Aye.
Councilmember Goldstein.
Aye.
Councilmember Najarian.
Aye.
Councilmember Shelby.
Aye.
Councilmember Bowles.
And motion passes. We move on now then to our next item, is citizens to be heard. As you can read up there, is time provided for citizens to address council on issues or concerns. They must be informative only. There will be no council action, discussion taken, because that's the way the law reads. So I ask you also that are going to be participating this evening to limit your comments to 3 minutes. We have 6 people who have signed up this evening. I'll call you up in the order that you signed in, and we welcome your comments. So I appreciate you coming by this evening. First person that signed up this evening is Miss Duana Loki. Duana Loki, ma'am. And also, please give us your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name is Duana Loki, and I live at 109 Sage Drive. I'd like to start by saying thank you, Mayor and council members, for your service. I've lived here all but a year of my life, and I love this city, and I appreciate you giving what I understand is free time to help make our town a nicer, safer, and more supportive environment for families to live for generations to come. So I appreciate each of you and what you do for us as a city. I came here tonight to voice my concern over the recent decision to cancel alley trash pickup. I'm sorry I didn't know about this issue in the beginning, but I'm not alone. I've spoke with a ton of residents these past few weeks, and like me, they flat just didn't know about it. I'm not faulting anyone because it was advertised. It's just there's many of us that don't read the things it was published in. But trust me, I do now. I'm sure it's a money and time saver for the trash company to use the new armed trucks, and as a business owner, I get it. But what I'm not clear on is, did we, as residents and the city, push back to Waste Management at all, or enough, to see if there's anything we can do as residents and a city to help them still save time and money, yet continue our alley service? I'm also concerned about the effect this will have on our elderly and disabled population. I have 8 neighbors in my immediate vicinity that are 80 to 90 years old, most of them widows, and several disabled folks on my street as well. Many of our homes were designed and built based on alley pickup, as evidenced by the extremely steep driveways on streets such as Meadow Way. It's much safer for our older folks to walk a plastic bag they fill to their comfort level through their backyard and put it in a stationary can, and on any day that they choose. I've heard exceptions are being granted to allow placement of 1 or 2 plastic bags of trash in the front. Let's hope they're put out on the right days and that animals don't tear it up before the trash truck gets there. Another concern is the effect on property values. Yes, housing prices are up now, but that won't last forever. Many of us considered alley pickup a huge plus when purchasing our homes, so it does add value and is a selling point. There's also the issue of where to store the cans so they aren't eyesores in our neighborhood. Finally, I'm dreading seeing can after can lined up in our streets, and we all know there will be folks that won't bring them back up in a timely manner. And who will police and enforce that? Will neighbors have to call neighbors in, or will the city keep an eye on it? Sounds like another burden on our city workers and residents that comply with the rules. In conclusion, did we push back and ask the garbage company to meet in the middle? Did we express safety concerns for our older, disabled, and veteran population? Did we offer to do some things to make it better for the garbage company, like requiring residents trim alley trees clear of trucks, or the city lay fill in alley areas needing it? And here's a question: will the armed trucks fit down our alley? If so, I'm not sure what the big deal is and why they must stop our service. If the armed trucks won't fit, would the trash company be willing to keep a couple of the current rear loader trucks to continue our alley service? Thank you again for your time, and if there's anything within reason that can be done to keep this service, I hope you'll try hard to make that happen for your constituents. Thank you.
Thanks, ma'am. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much. The next individual signed up this evening is Mr. Bernie Weeball.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Like our young lady, as you know, sometimes I get a little flustered in front of people. and I'm not as brave as she is, so. Here we go. First of all, last council meeting, I offered approximately 8 to 10 points to the council to consider, and I graciously got replies from the city manager to email from her. I'm going to do this a little bit out of order because one of the points is a follow to the prior speaker. My question was, what's the past value of the 5-year sole source contract for waste management, and what's the estimated value for the 5-year contract? And the city manager replied, the past 5 years, $7.38 million, and in the next 5 years will be estimated to be $7.50 million, okay? So basically, we're not talking about insignificant amount of funds for the services provided the city that waste management is going to get to address the concerns of the residents. The council has been aware that between the first and the second council meeting, from email from me, I made you aware that there were 2 waste management companies that would provide continued alleyway pickup. The city manager has said that there was a review survey done. Well, whenever you take a look at who is servicing the communities around Universal City, you'll find the predominance of the service vendor is actually Republic. It was never asked to be here. How do I know that? Because I talked to Republic's general manager for this area about that. And you have emails if you go back and you look at that. So I sympathize with the first presenter. The other item that I'd like to discuss on the points that were made at last council meeting is I asked for the reports, the net financial position of the golf course. And the city manager again graciously replied that the net financial position of the golf course is a slight deficit of only $3,100. That would be wonderful if that's what the net position of the financial position of the golf course is. In reality, whenever you get your audit back, the net position will reflect the total debt of the golf course and ongoing expenses. The first question that came back to the email, answer came back to the email, what type of debt and what's the magnitude of the debt currently obligated to the golf course? The response was $980,000 in GO bonds and $428,000 in conventional loans. GO bonds essentially are, as you know, but people out here don't know, are backed by essentially the city's full faith because tax money is used to pay GO bonds.
Can you wrap it up, Mr. Rubin?
Yes.
You can, please.
Conventional loans are what the council approves without voter approval. So when reporting financial status within the city, it's important to understand what the term net financial position really means. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Rubin. Appreciate it.
Again, I'm not as good as you.
All right, the next individual signed at the meeting is Mr. Ken Smith. Again, please give us your name and address for the record, sir.
Yes, my name is Ken Smith. I reside at 113 Meadow Way, and pretty much what Ms. Loki said, that is what I'm going to say. But anyway, I'm 70 years old. I have Parkinson's. My wife is 65 and has a bad back. And that's not going to be a good thing for us to be lugging those things up and down our driveway. Meadow Way, we all have steep driveways. And I just wanted to voice my disapproval of this whole thing that's going on. And it appears that maybe we're going to have to build something alongside our homes to ensure that nobody's going to just walk in and take our cans or whatever. And then so probably I'll have to pull a permit to build something. So anyway, I'll let y'all know. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Let me just give you a factual statement here that when the new cans are going to be available for everyone, we're going to go 6 months to look at the process to see if there's anything that is out of the ordinary. This has been a long process setting this all up, so I just wanted to let you know from a factual standpoint, that we are going to be taking a really strong look at this, and we're going to give it 6 months once the cans, you receive those free trash cans. So I just wanted to make sure you're all aware of that. Okay, this individual this evening that signed up was Mr. Eugene Prentice.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. My name is Eugene David Prentice. I live at 10107 Mission Creek, but in Congress. My reason for coming tonight was a traffic issue. Not really to deal with the police department, but to deal with the ticket and the court here. So the problem comes into play is on my ticket in black and white in writing, it says that I am able to take a driver safety course or a motorcycle safety course. So I went and they said, you do not take the course before registering with the court. So I came to the court to register. I was told by Miss Brenda Watkins that, oh, in order to take the motorcycle safety course, you will have to go see the judge. But you can't do that until February. But you can still take the driver safety course. In black and white on the back of the ticket, it says something totally different. So she said that there was a standing order to that effect. I asked her, I'd love to see that standing order. Can you present that? She rolled her eyes. No, we can't present that. And I said, then at that point I said, can I put in a complaint? So I did. Universal City complaint. On the rear of this complaint, I also put, please feel free to put response in writing. Still have not received anything from anybody from the city of Universal City in writing. So after waiting 3 weeks to hear a response, I came back and I said, oh, did you have an answer to the complaint? No, I heard about it. Okay. So then at that point, I also filled out a Universal City, Texas open records request. And on the open records request, I asked that any and all tickets disposition in any way using the motorcycle safety course from 30 December 2019 to 30 December 2021. And they did give me a prompt response back in writing on that one. Dear Mr. Prentice, in reference to your open records request, there is no such documentation that exists. So in the city of Universal City, you are discriminating against motorcyclists. Plain and simple. Motorcyclists cannot take a course. That is provided by the Texas Department of Licensing and Registration. I might have a little bit more information on that if you look a little deeper into my record. I've gone to the Texas Motorcycle Safety meetings quarterly, annually, all over the state of Texas, by the way. I sent you guys all an email concerning this situation as well. Let's go over some of the facts real quick. I know I only have 28 seconds left. Motorcycle courses save lives. When you take the motorcycle safety course, which is required to get a motorcycle license, the horsepower of the motorcycle you're on is between 10 and 30 horsepower. But as soon as you graduate, you can hop on a 200 horsepower motorcycle. You think that's a really good idea? I don't know. I think that more training might be needed. But by Universal City totally nixing any motorcycle safety course, I'll leave that one up to you. The only other thing I have to say is, if I do not see a response in writing, this will go up to the Texas Department of Licensing and Registration, and it will also be going up to the American Motorcycle Association. Thank you for your time.
Next individual this evening is Mr. Richard Edwards.
My name is Richard Edwards. I live at 209 Trudy Lane. I came to speak tonight. It's kind of curious. The last session, it was brought up, I guess it was on the agenda, regarding a no parking zone designation for Via Street on both sides. Personally, I could go either way. I take that street every single day coming home from work. Sometimes it is congested on both sides. People do park their cars. People do work on their cars. And yes, on the weekends, sometimes you get the U-Haul trucks lined up on the other side of the street. I never saw a problem because the speed limit's only 20, but then someone brought up, well, fire trucks could have trouble going through there. That's a good point, because there is a crescent on that street. But here's what's odd, because again, tonight is tab G. We're going to speak about enacting this ordinance to establish blah, blah, blah. The signs are already up. What's that all about? I mean, I don't know, I'm a sane, rational person, you know, that's like, if my neighbor was a candidate for some election, you know, he needs to come and get my permission to put his sign in my yard. Beforehand, once I give the position, my permission, put the sign in the yard. But to put the sign in my yard, and come by 2 weeks later and say, by the way, can I put my sign in your yard? So, I mean, I don't know. It's almost as if we, the public, are just being snubbed. Why are we going through this procedure, doing everything according to the book, when the city itself will put the signs out as they see fit? I don't know. Maybe there's a good reason, but a sane, rational reason, one that an adult can identify with. That would be great. Other than that, this late in the game, we have more people learning about this business with what's happened with the waste management contract. Okay, for everyone listening, are you aware? Now it hasn't been I don't know this for sure, but just from participating in these meetings and listening, this was a no-bid contract. There's a loophole in the competitive bidding law, and the city did not have to reach out and get competitive bids. Now I call that a sweetheart deal. I don't know what Waste Management calls it. I don't know what the city of Universal City calls it. But I got another word for losing my alleyway pickup. And you know, I think as time goes on, more and more people are going to be coming up here, especially once the new cans do come in and they find out just how inconvenient it is losing their alleyway pickup. So I hope as things go on, we will come to something agreeable. And, you know, I think if there was the will, we could get a hybrid contract. So people who have alleyway pickup can have their alleyway pickup. Those who don't have alleyways can have the new modern side-on loading trucks. I don't know what the cost would be or whatever, and I do know that would be a lot of work on other people, you know, to put this all together. But I think, come on, we should care about everybody in our city. We deserve the consideration. We should I'm willing to do what I can. I mean, I'm coming up here every 2 weeks. I'm involved, and I'm trying to get others involved. And for that, I thank you very much.
The last individual that signed up this evening so far, and I'm not sure if I can read it. I apologize if I don't read this right. Barry Pierce? Bobby Pierce? Sorry, sir, I couldn't really read your writing. So.
That's okay, most people can. Name is Barry Paris. I live at 157 Sage. I live in an area where there's a bunch of hills, a bunch of old people, and a bunch of crippled people. Me being a couple of them. It ain't easy hauling a can up a hill on crutches. Though I don't always have the sticks, sometimes the sticks are there. It's easier to lug it down the backyard, out the fence. Dragging a can up a hill ain't a good thing. A lot of these older people, we got rain. I know it's Texas. We occasionally have rain. We have ice occasionally. I ain't going to see a bunch of old people sliding down the road breaking their fannies. We also live in an area called coyotes, who happen to get into the areas and they like trash. If they knock a trash can over in an alley, it's contained between fences. You do it in front of the house, it's contained all over everybody's yard. Which means we have more things we have to go and deal with picking up the trash that the coyotes decided to knock down, along with the deer and the coons and everything else we've got. We don't live in the city, we live in the country. So I appreciate if we could get our alleys back. I understand some of these trucks get stuck. I understand some of these people don't cut their trees, but you guys like to hand out ordinances and tickets on those things, so hand those out. There's your extra source of revenue. But let us keep our stuff in the alleys, because we have hills, and it ain't no fun. That's it, gentlemen, lady, y'all have a good evening.
All right, would anyone else like to address council that didn't have a chance to sign up? Please come give us your name and address for the record, please, ma'am.
My name's Kim Eigelhart. I live at 736 Garden Meadow Drive. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I know this is the off-season, so I'm here tonight to talk about property taxes. In 2019, the Texas legislature passed Senate Bill number 2, the Texas Property Tax Reform and Transparency Act. As a result, for the last 2 years, all property owners in Universal City have received this postcard. Their county is required to send it to us pursuant to Texas Property Tax Code Section 26.04 E-2. It advises us of the fair-taxes.org website, where property owners can go to follow the tax rate setting process, which happens simultaneously for all 7 taxing entities. This website provides information concerning proposed property taxes that may be imposed on properties by local taxing units, dates, times, and locations of public hearings concerning budgets and tax rate adoption, as well as other important information. This includes contact information and the uploaded relevant documents for each taxing entity. It also provides a pie chart so each property owner can see how much of their taxes go to each entity. The postcard leads one to believe that this is one-stop shopping. However, although all the other taxing entities use this website, for some reason, Universal City does not. Not long ago, we were chastised for wanting to hold the line on taxes, yet spend money on transparency. Since this website and the database are provided by other governmental entities, I respectfully request that we allocate the few personnel hours that it takes to upload our information as it becomes available. Now, shifting gears since I still have a minute, I'm sure all of you have noticed the presence of Anthony Snyder and his son, AJ, at the last several council meetings. They are providing a great community service by video recording our council meetings and posting them online. Yet, unless I have missed it, which is possible, I don't think they've been officially recognized for their efforts. I am asking this body to recognize the contribution that Anthony and AJ are making in volunteering their time and equipment, thereby contributing to having a better informed citizenry. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, very good. Thank you very much for all of your comments and participation. That is what it's all about, for us to give a chance to hear how you feel about particular issues, and we welcome those comments. So we'll move on right now then to our business for this evening. First one is a no tab. We could have a public hearing in a minute on request for a specific use permit at 2060 Universal City Boulevard, Suite A. And before we go, I go ahead and open up the public hearing. I'll have the city staff make a presentation, and then I'll open up the hearing, which gives all of you a chance to comment about this particular issue.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This recently went before the Planning and Zoning Commission. Michael Casada, Development Services Director, is here. Sorry, that's me. And he will be giving you more information and the outcome of the Planning and Zoning meeting.
Michael?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So as presented in your staff memo, we have a petitioner that is looking for a specific use permit at 2060 UC Boulevard, which is right down the road. That's where the Nationwide insurance company is located. There are 2 suites in that building. They're looking to go into Suite A. The property owner is located in the other suite, that's Nationwide. And what the petitioner is requesting to do is to establish a sound mixing studio. As part of that, because of their zoning, which is C1 Neighborhood Services, they're required to get a specific use permit. So it's not required by right, meaning that they have to go before a special approval process, meaning they have to make a presentation to Plan Commission, which then makes a recommendation to City Council. They did go before Plan Commission for the specific use request, and Plan Commission did recommend approval to City Council, and so that's why they're here tonight. From a staff level, we did go out, our building official and fire department officials, to take a look at what they were proposing to do, look at the suite itself, see what kind of upgrades, if any, were needed, and to talk about the insulation and the soundproofing that they are proposing to do. The soundproofing that they're proposing, the insulation, does meet all of our code standards. So staff was satisfied at that level. However, what staff is recommending is that as one of the conditions of approval is that if we do receive any nuisance or noise complaints, that we're able to go back in, analyze, give the petitioner the opportunity to mitigate those complaints, and if need be, bring it back to City Council for reconsideration. We did send out, as required by state law, 14 legal notices to surrounding property owners. We did not receive any written responses. However, I did receive one phone call from one of the neighbors that would be impacted and explained what the proposal was. After our conversation, they did not have any objections to the proposal. The applicant is here and is available to answer any questions, and so is staff if needed.
So once it gets to council, then we can ask the
Yes,
particular questions. But right now, what I'd like to do is, the way the process goes, I'll open up the public hearing in a minute. That gives you an opportunity to discuss what you feel about this particular proposal. And then the public hearing is closed, and I'll open, then we'll go to tab number B, which will allow then council to discuss these particular issues, okay? So that's how the process goes. So it is now, what, 7:05? So I'll open up the public hearing right now and see, would anyone like to address council on this particular proposal? Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and councilors. Appreciate your time this evening. My name is Captain Robert Malloy. I'm an active duty U.S. Army officer, and I will be being majored here on the 19th.
Congratulations. Thanks for your service.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I really appreciate the opportunity to present to you. So I do own a business on the side, and I am accompanied by Cliff Allen and Lorenzo Perez, who hopefully will have the opportunity to work in the sound mixing studio. A lot of what we do is provide neighborhood services to a lot of independent artists who are trying to further their careers in music. We also do offer services for high-profile clients such as Hulu, Warner Brothers, Marvel, Penguin Random House, and others. So really, I just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity, and regardless of the decision, it's great to meet all of you. Thank you so much.
Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyone else, please? Okay, so what the procedure is then is I'll go ahead and close the public hearing at 7:08, and then we'll move on to tab number B, which is discuss and to consider ordinance 655-G-2022, PC 552-SU-010, an ordinance approving a specific use permit to War Drum Mixing Studio LLC for personal improvement services used in a C1 neighborhood services district on property located at 2060 Universal City Boulevard, Suite A, Universal City, Texas, ACD 5047J, Block 1, Lot 17, providing for a non-severability and establishing an effective date. And this will be our first reading for this one. So now I open it up to council to address it to staff or and to the individuals who are proposing to put this, add this permit. Yes, Mr. Adjournment.
How you doing? As I read this, I thought that was actually kind of a good location for that, and I don't see anybody complaining. As I look through here, what kind of traffic will you have through there? Are you gonna have like full bands, people carrying drum sets and guitars, or is it just other sound equipment in and out?
So the preponderance of the services that we offer are primarily vocal and/or singer-songwriter. That comprises approximately 80% of our business. For this location specifically, we will have bands in there, and I've already given guidance to Cliff and Lorenzo that if we do have bands in there, I told them that we will not book during normal business hours. So in Suite B, where the insurance company is, they typically close at 5 p.m. daily. Then on the weekends, they're not open. So the intent is that if there are bands that want to come and record, because typically will be louder, but that's mitigated by the sound insulation. It'll be after business hours. All the other services that we offer, which again, preponderance is about 80% vocal or singer-songwriter, can be done in normal business hours without disturbing the peace. Primarily, mitigating nuisance based upon the soundproofing.
That was my other question, because as an old drummer myself, I love the War Drum Mixing Studio. That's just, I just love the name of that right off the bat. You got a T-shirt that says "I destroy silence." But with that being said, obviously we have to. If I destroyed silence, it'd kick me out of my neighborhood. I don't want that to happen. I'm pretty sure that the noise reduction materials we put up there, I don't see any reason why that would be coming out and disturbing anybody. And obviously that's what you propose.
So to assuage any concerns if they exist among the council members and Mr. Mayor, the loudest thing in there is going to be a kick drum. If there is a band in there, and again, it would be after business hours. The kick drum at source is 106. I'm going to get kind of nerdy with you now.
It's all right.
The kick drum at source is approximately 106 decibels, even without sound insulation. Because there's so many walls in Suite Alpha, and there's a 7-foot air gap between Suite Alpha and Suite Bravo, the noise mitigation would reduce it down to approximately 60 decibels, which is basically the sound and the level of noise or volume that we're currently experiencing in this room, which, although the concern may be foreseeable, that a nuisance could potentially happen, but it's severely mitigated by the sound insulation.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Actually, this is more for city staff. We did one of these recently.
Yeah, we do. We have another recording and editing studio in Universal City on Kitty Hawk Road. It is in a professional office building. Never had any complaints.
And they're following the same guidelines for sound.
Exact guidelines.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know that you're kind of near a flight path, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're going to be taking the precautions to make sure that sound, not your sound getting out, but that sound coming in. He's shaking his head like, I already know.
You're very cognizant and aware of that.
It's a double-edged sword. So, I mean, and as City Manager Kim Turner pointed out last week on Monday, the majority of what we do is trying to keep sound out. And so the natural inclination for people when they hear a music studio, sound studio, recording studio is like, it's loud. The fact is that we need it quiet. We are currently in a multi-use building in Savannah, so this will be our third location. We have one in Savannah, one in the UK, and with approval, and if given the opportunity, this will be our third location. So when people hear music studio, sound studio, they think it's going to be loud, but honestly, it's quite the opposite. We need it quiet so we can get the best capture possible from whatever artist is coming.
Thank you.
The Army traditionally enjoys the Air Force flyover for that safety factor.
You gotta remember, this is pretty much Air Force territory.
All I have is an A-10 Warthog. Actually, I have a good story about that, but
Second. We do have a motion on the floor now to approve this, and a second, I think, was by Councilmember Shelby. So I'll keep the discussion open if anyone else has something else they'd like to discuss. All right, having heard nothing, let's call for that vote then, please.
Councilmember Goolsby.
Aye.
Councilmember Shelby.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Neville.
Aye.
Councilmember Maxwell.
Aye.
Councilmember Najarian.
Aye.
Councilmember Goldie.
Aye.
That motion passes. Congratulations. Welcome to the neighborhood. We look forward to working with you guys.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, council members, for your time. Mike, thank you very much. City Manager Kim Turner, thank you for your advocacy last week. I've heard him.
Thank you for your service. Congratulations on your promotion.
Sir.
If anyone needs to record anything, right down the street.
Asian marketing.
I too am a drummer, jazz drummer, 20 years.
All right, let's move on now to tab number C. Consider resolution 924-A-2022. It's a resolution of the City Council of the Universal City, Texas, joining with the state of Texas and political subdivisions of the state as a party in the Texas opioid settlement agreement secured by the Office of the Attorney General, authorizing the city manager to execute settlement participation forms and establishing an effective date. I'll turn it over to you, Ms. Turner.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to cover tab C and tab D at the same time.
Right.
Since they're both on
We
the
have to
same topic.
take them separately because...
Yes, second considerations, but my one discussion, hopefully. So this is following on with the Janssen & Janssen. As an overview, 21 states got together and decided to file lawsuits against the pharmaceutical companies for the opioid epidemic that we have going on throughout the country. And so they are finishing up those settlements, and the funds are being divvied up between the states, and then the states are passing them down to the local governments and the county. So at the local and county level, we can continue to fight, drug addiction and opioid addiction and all the things that go with it. So we approved the Janssen & Janssen. Now we have the Endo-Par, and then on your second one, you have the Teva, and then we may see one, possibly two more of these. The state has not distributed the funding yet. They're going to get through all the cycles, and then they'll start making the distributions to Universal City and the other cities that chose to participate.
Okay. Go ahead and entertain a motion, and then we'll go.
Move to approve.
Second. Mrs. Najarian, second by Councilmember Shelby. Discussion on this matter. Again, there's two issues, but they're separate because they're separate companies that are being involved. Because even though Kim presented both at the same time, but we have to vote on them separately. So this is for tab number C. We have a motion and a second. Do I have any other discussion? All right, Kim, call for the vote, please.
Councilmember Najarian.
Aye.
Councilmember Shelby.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Neville.
Aye.
Councilmember Goldstein.
Aye.
Councilmember Maxwell.
Aye.
Councilmember Goldie.
Aye.
Okay, that motion passes unanimously. That moves on to tab number D then, which is, the only difference is there is it's 924-B-2022, and it's a different company that's involved with that. And the exact same presentation that Kim gave us in there. Move to approve. Motion made by Councilmember Maxwell, second by Councilmember Najarian. Any other discussion? Okay, Kim, call for that vote, please.
Councilmember Maxwell.
Aye.
Councilmember Najarian.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Neville.
Aye.
Councilmember Goldstein.
Aye.
Councilmember Shelby.
Aye.
Councilmember Goldie.
Aye.
Motion passes. Let's do everything we possibly can to eradicate this really serious problem, as you all know. It's really serious. It's not just kids. It's all ages that are directly involved in this situation. So we'll move to tab E. Consider approval of pay estimate number 4, invoice for the West Byrd Drainage Project Phase 2.
Thank you, Mayor. This
Moving along.
is West Byrd Drainage Project on Parkview.
We used to call it
Figure
the
that one out.
Parkview Drainage Project.
Yes.
It's now called the West Byrd.
So, for this pay estimate, it's in the amount of $66,142.16. It is to R.L. Rohde, and the Public Works Director is recommending approval, and then we will go back to Bexar County to get our reimbursement.
Move for approval.
Motion by Councilmember Lutfi, second by Mayor Pro Tem Neville. Any further discussion? Again, this is the community development block grant that we have with the county, and it provides phenomenal service for us. I mean, financially, we could never afford to do what we've done in this drainage project without the support of the county. So our hats off to them, and I can't, every time I get the chance to thank them, we do. So we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All right, Chris, call for the vote, please.
Councilmember Goldstein.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Neville.
Aye.
Councilmember Maxwell.
Aye.
Councilmember Najarian.
Aye.
Councilmember Shelby.
Aye.
Councilmember Goldie.
Aye.
That motion passes. Let's move on now to tab number F, which is to consider a petition for final acceptance of public improvements of the Orchard Park Subdivision, Unit 1, to include the water system, sanitary sewer system, and drainage and street system. Ms. Byrd?
Thank you, Mayor. This is for the Orchard Park Phase 1, that is the subdivision that used to be in our ETJ but has recently been annexed into the city. So they have completed all of the Phase 1 improvements, been through their 1-year preliminary. We've had our engineer and our public works inspectors go out and look at everything, and they are all recommending final acceptance of those public improvements.
For those of you that may not be aware, that is across Cibolo Creek. It's between Selma and Schertz, and that's now part of that, so we've already annexed. There's still some of that area that's still in our ETJ, but this is a particular portion. So if you've driven up there, you've seen the construction going on. If you're a golfer and you get on the third hole, the third tee, you will see the construction from the tee box. But anyway, I'll just add that as an aside. Okay, need a motion from council?
Move to approve.
Motion by Councilmember.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Adjournment. Questions, comments? Yes, Mr. Guzman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So Randy and HMT Engineering have done the inspections, and they've had no issues with anything. The roads are my primary, well, that and the plumbing, since everybody in my neighborhood seems to get plumbing issues, but because of the movement. We're good with all of that testing, everything is.
We did all the testing, we have all the results, and the proof rolling and everything else that we need to have the test results for. So it's not just those two that did the inspection, because Meritage's engineer is required to do the inspection as well.
Okay.
And then we also have Matt and Dwayne, who are our public works. One is a water, one is a street inspector, and they've also signed off on everything.
Fantastic, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, Chris, call for the vote, please, ma'am.
Councilmember Maxwell.
Aye.
Councilmember Najarian.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Neville.
Aye.
Councilmember Blvd.
Aye.
Councilmember Shelby.
Aye.
Councilmember Bowley.
Hi.
Very good, that passes unanimously as well. Next item, count G, we're going to pull. There's been some changes on that, some action with the organization that's involved with that, so we're going to take another look at it. And I don't need to get into the details with you, but it's appropriate to pull it at this time, and we'll bring it back to council when
Probably March 1st or March 15th, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll pull that one, so that concludes our business for this evening, and I'll turn it over now to our city manager for her comments.
As a reminder, this Saturday is Snow Fest, and if you've gone anywhere, Universal City Park, you'll see that the public works staff is well under its way to getting all the booths and the fencing and railing and everything else set up. And so that will start at 3 o'clock. This year we're doing something a little bit different. You know, we always have the people who like to get there early, at least an hour early. So we're going to let the public in an hour early. We're just not going to open up the rides. And if the vendors are set up, they can buy things from the food vendors or the craft vendors. That way we don't have the big long line and the rush at the very 3 o'clock hour. So we expect that to be a very good event, and we look forward to seeing you all of you out there. Let's see, I also wanted to let you know that on the East Aviation project, we are like this close to starting our final pavement. The paving is always done at 60 degrees and rising. We have not been at 60 degrees, but we are rising, so they're doing a little bit of cleanup now, and we should be getting there very soon. As most of you know, Susan Ennis, our library director, is retiring, and we have done interviews and have identified her replacement, who will start on March 7th. So we'll make sure we bring her around and introduce her as well. And then, let's see, I thought I had one more. Oh, happy hour. I mentioned to Katie, I would mention that we're starting happy hour. It will be a Mardi Gras theme, and that I believe is on March 7th. That's what I have tonight, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, so we can have everybody.
First, an exciting, part of it exciting. As you know, Betty White passed away, and there was a move afoot to have people donate to shelters in her honor. Well, the day to do that was Monday, which was a holiday. So shelters closed. We didn't know what to do, but Regina and Lori came to the rescue, set up a system where people could donate online, and publicized it, and raised $816 for the shelter. That's pretty good. Thank you so much. Okay. do the signs on the opposite side of the apartment are pretty far apart. Are you gonna paint the curb red or something, or put another sign in?
We'll have an answer for you that when we bring the ordinance back.
Okay, that's true, okay. Snowfest, yay. I love Snowfest. Would you like to know why I love Snowfest? North Boulevard is cleared of all the cars. Okay, that's it.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, Snowfest, that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
It's become a great tradition here in Mr. Neville.
Yeah, thank you. I understand that our city attorney will be moving on. I agree with him. We're very close, and he's a great guy. He's a good attorney, good city attorney. I wish him luck with it. In neighborhoods and the environment which I grew up in, we would call them the consigliere. If anybody knows Godfather, they know what I'm talking about. Okay. Also, I'm going to miss the March 1st meeting because my daughter is coming in on Grand Junction that night at 7:50. Appreciation and indulgence. Thank you.
Ms. Turner.
Well, Mr. Neville had asked for the substation information to be presented on March 1st, and you're not going to be here, so,
I would like to have it moved if possible.
well, you have to talk to him about
Yeah, that's fine. If it says you guys go ahead, let's move that to the second meeting in March.
March 15th then. Okay,
There's
thank you.
consensus. We're good.
Thank you.
All right, good. Tom?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I'm sorry, was it, Mr. Prentice, is he still here? He left. Okay, well then, my comment on Mr. Prentice on the motorcycle portion was that, number one, did he talk to the judge, and number two, his violation was on a motorcycle, so the motorcycle safety, I think, was needed, but it seemed to be a little convoluted there. Mr. Edwards.
Yes, sir.
You're running for council. We can't converse back and forth, but I understand you're running for council. We made that announcement. I appreciate you showing up each meeting and learning about that. It's a heck of a lot more than some of the other, or one of the other individuals that is running for a position. He hasn't been to a meeting since he was voted off council 10 years ago. We do have another individual that is running, and he is Mr.
Vaughn.
Mr. Vaughn. He's been to a couple of meetings, but he hasn't. He needs to come back a little bit more often to get involved, I think. And the other gentleman has been coming on a regular basis. But you, sir, at least you stand out. I'm extremely, in past campaigns, I've run on the premise that I am the voice of the people. Obviously, I'm the only one that actually voices a complaint because I'm very, very disappointed with this council. Forgive me for saying so. But a prime opportunity for you to raise the issue that 30+% of our population are dissatisfied with the waste management contract. We've had it for over 60 years, those alleys, and those are case points. Prime example presented tonight, and this is just a small percentage of the people that are affected by this and are disapproving of it. I mean, this is the council that had no problems a few months ago spending $10,000 to reposition a 3-inch diameter hole so that somebody could take a stick to hit a ball at it. And I'm not going to bring the golf course into it, that's another issue. We have an opportunity tonight to write this. We can make a motion to modify that contract. There's no such thing as a dead-end contract. If there is a dead-end contract, then we should have never gone into it. All contracts can be modified.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
This isn't an item on the agenda.
This is not an item on the agenda, then I make a motion that it become an item on the agenda for the next meeting.
Before I proceed, what is your feeling on this?
the council needs to follow the rules it's adopted to have items put on the agenda, but the discussion at this meeting for that item is.
But if a council member at the meeting requests that an item be put on the agenda, then I think it needs 3/4 of the vote of the folks to get this on the agenda to readdress it.
I believe that's correct,
So,
Mr. Mayor. Based on
Maxwell has made that recommendation and to put this back on a future agenda item, a council agenda item. And so what I would need here from you guys is your feelings, whether you all agree with this, that we should put this back on. And it needs to be 4 of the 6 of you. And we can open up, we can't actually have discussion at this moment, but you can vote if you wanted to put it on.
Because the motion, if you move to the 15th, we're liking the 10th.
Okay, well, no, okay, yeah, for a future item, we didn't say a specific date, but another item within the next couple of council meetings. And we'll take your recommendation into consideration.
I'm good with that.
Okay, Mr. Jerry, good?
No.
Okay, so we have 1 yes and 1 no. Yes? Yes? Okay, so that's the consensus then of the council, that we will readdress this at a future council meeting. And okay, no, I know, but we'll determine the date. I'll work with the city manager to determine the date, and we'll bring that back to council. But it won't be like April, May, or June. It will be very soon, because eventually the cans will be distributed probably by mid-March. So we will definitely try to do it in the month of March for sure. So we'll leave it at that. All right, Mr. Maxwell, you're still on.
With the can, we'll discuss that later on. Ladies and gentlemen, your voices were heard tonight. You need to get those voices back out here to let this council know what you expect, because you voted them up here to represent you. Now I'm gonna get off that yet. I am kind of concerned though. There's 2 people that are in here on a weekly basis and with issues, and they're valid issues. And I appreciate that they make some really good comments, but I don't understand why they don't take that leadership that they have and apply and run for one of the council seats. I do not understand that, because you're here anyway, so you might as well be a participant instead of just one pointing out. I mean, everybody in here can point out problems, but you come with solutions and sit up here and help make the solutions. And that's all I want to say on that area right there. There are council packets at the front desk that you can get, and I think the deadline is 5 o'clock Friday afternoon, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
So, in other words, it's one of those things where, are you willing to put your money where your mouth is, and put your time, in this case, is put your time, because, we're up here as volunteers. So I do appreciate that, and ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got to say, and thank you for your support.
I have to follow that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Just real quickly, obviously looking forward to Snowfest and the happy hours at the golf course again. Really miss those, and just getting together with people in the neighborhood in our city. Really loved all the green shirts coming out tonight. Favorite Citizens Police Academy, and giving out that award. That's one of the really fun things about this job and being part of this community is that type of interaction. And also just real quick, this last week, a few of us, Mr. Neville, Ms. Turner, and I went to the Northeast Partnership meeting. We learned quite a bit about the way you look at flight paths and, in this city, as far as building, which way you're building up, out, what could be in the way, keeping off a short list of base closures, which is, reality around here. At times, just some really good information, and it's a really good time for all the Tri-City, all the people in our neighborhood, Cibolo, Shirts, Live Oak, Converse, to be able to get together and share the good, the bad, and the ugly in their city, and all learn from each other. So I always enjoy that. Unfortunately, I don't get enough opportunity to go to those because they're on Thursdays, and I'm usually working, but I took time off. Anyway, that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I'm good tonight, thank you.
Okay, just have a couple of items. I had the honor of going to Salinas Elementary the other day to help judge their Black History Month posters, and students and their teachers all had their doors decorated up with Black History stuff, and it was really fascinating. And myself and one of our police officers, one of our firemen were the judges. It was a tough decision, but it was a lot of fun. Salinas is a wonderful school. They got a great principal. They're very progressive, and the kids are just dynamite. They're fantastic. We have a ribbon cutting Thursday afternoon at 4 o'clock. The printing service on East Wright. So hopefully everybody can make that. If they can't, we'll just wear this. Don't wear your tie. And just stay informed. Okay.
What's this poster?
Well, this poster, you can all see it. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to read it, even on council. Came from the kids at OLPH, Our Lady Perpetual Health School, Catholic School. They're thanking the city and the police and the fire for what we do to support them. And so they decided to do a poster and give it to us, so I wanted to make sure I showed all you guys this poster tonight. It's signed by a bunch of the students. So that's what that poster is all about. The air show's coming up. I think Paul had mentioned that, the Air Force, etc. But the air show for you, if you've not heard about it yet, is the 23rd and 24th of April. Open up Randolph. The T-Birds will be here. It's basically the 75th anniversary of the United States Air Force. So it's going to be probably one of the finest air shows that has ever been put on in this country. So I suspect it will be a fun event for everybody to attend. Let's see if there's anything else. Matt, thank you for your service with us. We appreciate the time you spent. He's getting married. And he's going to be moving on to another location. Can I tell him where, man? It's going to Las Vegas. And that's really good. So he's going to have a new wife and a new chance to become, a very productive person. I won't say wealthy man. So, Matt, would you like to say anything?
I just want to thank y'all. It's been a great experience. I'm extremely grateful to work for the city, serving this community. It really has been an honor to watch y'all deliberate, discuss, be a real good example of what democracy is. And so it's been very special to be a part of that. I just want to thank you.
Matt, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you all for coming this evening. It is now 7:35, and I'll call this meeting adjourned. Thanks for coming.
Restaurants will be open.